let me explain to you what I mean when I speak about, like, what's my map, like what's an important part of my map within my philosophy. Well, we have and we need to use analogies, but they're not like their importance or truth isn't lessened just because they're analogies. To me, when I speak about something being an analogy or a metaphor, I'm saying that I'm disguising it into the one that I resonate the most with, but that doesn't mean that it isn't as serious, like it isn't serious, or that it isn't or that it is imagination. I'm just saying that everyone can put their own colors to it, but the object is a real object. It's just that we can't help but look at it through different lenses. And these lenses through which we look at it are these different experiences we each have, or analogies we may use, as all language is a metaphor. Everything is a metaphor in that sense. So that's how I speak about metaphors. Having said this, let me explain to you this. So basically we have I don't know how to hold the camera. So basically we have the director of the play, the King of Kings, God. Love, or the creative impulse, the expansive impulse. He's the creator of this play, therefore he is actually all characters. He has all characters within him. So we are accepting a level, to start with, we are accepting a level of paradox, because that's the only way through it to understand it with words. So, accept the paradox and let's continue. Then we have the main characters, or the rulers of the land. Main ruler, God, minimize. So God, but in disguise. God, but he has come through and entered the stage. Therefore, he has put on some clothes, making him smaller and approachable for us. Okay? So we have God. Still the creative impulse, the love, goodness we experience in this life. And then we have Satan, which is the contractive impulse within my philosophy. Satan is the contrary to the expansive impulse. It's the contrary, so that we get to know it, so that we get to know the actual substance we need, that we get to know him better, because it is also within my philosophy that I experience and believe that we already know him when we are in spirit world. This is just a school. We are having this experience, this trip in material existence, and then we come back with more information, even with more knowledge, with more love, with more, etc. Being every time more connected to God, therefore more God, etc. So we have God, main character. Satan, it's contrary. So Satan is a ruler of one of the cities, we may say, within this land of the King of Kings. Okay? Now, Satan, in my philosophy, is not a bad character. It's a good and necessary character. It's a good and necessary character because the definition of Satan is actually the contractive impulse. And we need the contractive impulse to learn as deep as we learn here in Earth School. To come to Earth School, I mean, because if we don't have this material reality, we're not able to be inside this material reality that gives us another perspective towards God, towards life, towards... So we need contraction, we need limitation, So this contractive, destructive impulse even is necessary. Now, the problem becomes, and we go to hell, I didn't write it, but hell is suffering. We actually go truly to his land, or Satan only becomes a problem when we are not remembering that he is also under the hierarchy of God. So Satan is good and a necessary character within our knowledge, within our connection to the truth that he is actually a lower hierarchy, and he only acts in service to God. Okay, there's a clear hierarchy here, of course, here as well. Okay. So I'm gonna try to explain it maybe from another angle so it's clear. We need limitation. We need a room if we want to have a party. We need bricks if we want to build a home where we can build a happy family. We need a cup so we can drink water more easily. So Satan is just a character. In my philosophy, Satan is only the contractive impulse. Now Satan gets distorted. Satan becomes the really bad Satan. Satan becomes dangerous. We go into hell, to suffering. We go into suffering with Satan when he takes on the place of the ruler, and we think that darkness, that emptiness, that disconnection, that contraction is the ultimate truth. When we are so conscious of the fact that God is the ultimate truth, that no darkness, no death, no limitation, no contraction is actually true in essence, we can play with Satan. Satan is a funny character, actually. Okay. Satan, that's the role he's been given in this play. Problem when we look at it, not knowing that. So within my philosophy, pain is real. We do experience pain, and it can be horrible, and I know it firsthand. So deep suffering, right? Because we could also separate this pain I'm talking about, where like experiencing limitation creates pain, but it's a different kind of pain, and we could call it just pain when we are aware of the fact that it's not truth. And it becomes true suffering, it becomes hell when it takes the role of the ruler, of the ultimate truth. Now I could continue and talk about the two kinds of hell, because it is such that reality has these two faces. It is such that reality has these two faces. if you look at it from one place. But, and so, sorry, so in the same way, also, this emptiness has two faces. And in both cases, there's a hierarchy. So substance creates an empty space so that he can exist in it. The primal state, the primal substance, truth, what we are, it's the substance, and it creates an empty space so he can come in. Yeah, so there's a hierarchy. This serves this. Emptiness serves content. Darkness serves light. There's first a light, and then a shadow is cast as a consequence from the light. So, in that same way, when we look at this emptiness and deepen them up within this part, we've got two impulses or different sufferings, both ruled by fear and by the disconnection with the bigger reality. One is what I call the fire of ice, and the other one, the hell of ice and hell of fire. Hell of fire is when there's too much light, there's too much creative impulse for the limited container, and that overwhelms and may even break this. And is ruled by a fear. If we walk towards too much light, it's because we fear we couldn't hold the pain of separation. Why couldn't we hold the pain of separation? Because we would think it's the ultimate truth, or it's never going to end, or whatever. And the other fear is the fear of emptiness, of disintegration, of the void itself, of not existing. So wanting to belong too much, wanting light too much, and protecting oneself too much. Why do I say that there's also hierarchy within Satan's land? So this is first phase of reality, second phase of reality. Second phase has two phases, first and second. And I say first because at least this distortion is distorted by too much light. This one is too much darkness. So, but this is still bad in the sense that this is dangerous. It doesn't serve the growth. That's why it belongs inside the contractive, inside of Satan's land. But at the end of the day, it's all God's land. Okay? And because this even goes further away into everything that we don't know, that is also called God. Everything is God. Everything. Okay? So I think this is for today. I could speak for hours about my organization and my experience of life, but this is it for today. Au revoir.